So there are lots of different investors that get involved at different stages of ventures growth. What is your sweet spot in terms of the exact stage you like to get involved, where you are going to make the biggest impact possible and use your resources well?
Well, we are focused on the growth stage, and it's a great place to be because at the early stages, and by early I'm talking about incubators and angel investors.
Of which we're very well represented in Canada.
We're very well represented. So there's an enormous number of companies that are being founded, they're receiving seed funding, and most of them aren't going to make it. But from those early stage companies, we're seeing more and more companies get to the point where they're generating revenue, they've proven demand, and their revenue is now accelerating. And it's at that point that we want to invest. And of course, from our perspective, it's all about opportunity versus risk. And that's one way of buying down our risk and capitalizing on the growth.
While filling a need that the country has, right? Which there hasn't been enough capital. And at the risk of getting too inside baseball, but for the entrepreneurs that are watching this segment, if you can come to us with, a clear identification of where your customers have actually come from, how much it's cost you to get them, and are at least starting to develop a feel for what those customers are worth, and if the gap between those two numbers is healthy enough, and you can convince us that there's a lot more customers to be got through the same channels that you've already started to prove, that's our definition of a sweet spot, because then, the risk goes out of the investment to a great degree, at least to get it to the next level, right? And we're willing to pay, a higher valuation at that point as a multiple of revenue than we would if you show up without those metrics in place.
Well, it seems to me that in the early stage of anything, people who are very passionate about, particularly a technology, might be very product-centric in their thinking, and they don't necessarily look through the lens of these things that they're creating are supposed to go and do a job for somebody, that somebody has some kind of suffering or problem or something. And it's ultimately people that buy stuff.
We call that a solution looking for a problem. And you started by saying passionate people. And you do need passion, absolutely. But at the same time, you don't want to be a lab coat where you're out there and you're developing a solution that you think the market will want. Oh, when they see what I've developed, they'll rush to my door and everyone is going to want to buy it. That's not the way it works. Those entrepreneurs have to work hand in hand with the buying market so that they understand the real demand, the pain points of the customer. And if you can actually match your passion with a product that meets that pain point, can address that pain point, then you potentially have a winner. And the other factors are also important, such as size of market, having good people, and so on. But you're absolutely right. You need to look at the whole spectrum of success, all of the factors.
It's amazing how much easier your customer acquisition, marketing, sales job gets if you are solving a real problem, right? Versus trying to convince somebody or a group of customers that there's a problem to be solved, and if you can get their heads there, well, then I have a solution, right? I mean, you identify a problem that people can relate to right away, then, a good chunk of your work is done. Now you got to execute and deliver, but at least you're not, swimming uphill on a problem no one knew we had.
Well, in a way, your business solves a very clear problem that entrepreneurs know they have, which is it's hard to get Series A and B financing up here. And so what ends up happening is really promising stuff ends up being commercialized elsewhere.
That's right. And as a result, because people do know that we are here for that, deal flow and, getting calls from entrepreneurs is not it's a very easy marketing job for us, right? Because we are solving a real problem. We don't have to, continually broadcast that we're in the business. People know we are.